Birthdays were never a big deal to me. I've always found the fuss unnecessary. Just another day. But my wife Jenna loves to celebrate. Every year, she'd throw me a party, complete with balloons, cake, and a small group of close friends. So, when she insisted on hosting a surprise dinner party for my 35th birthday, I didn't think twice. She seemed unusually excited that week, buzzing with energy as she made plans. I catch her on the phone, whispering, but when I asked, she'd just grin and say, "You'll see." I figured it was part of her flair for surprises. When I walked into our living room that night, the first thing I noticed was how formal everyone looked. Her parent siblings, even her cousins, all dressed like they were attending a gala, not a casual birthday dinner. A chill ran through me. Something felt off, but I brushed it aside. Maybe I was overthinking. After all, Jenna stood in the center of the room, beaming, holding a champagne flute. Her confidence always had a way of disarming me. "Happy birthday, Alex," she called out, motioning for me to sit in the chair placed at the head of the table. The evening unfolded like a play where I didn't know my lines. Everyone watched me, too closely, their smiles a little too wide. Her father, Charles, had this smug grin plastered on his face, the same one he wore when he'd once told me, "You'll never be good enough for her." Still, I tried to relax. I laughed at their forced jokes, sipped and my waited for the usual cake and presents routine. But then Jenna stood, clinking her glass to get everyone's attention. "I have a special surprise for Alex," she announced. Her voice was syrupy sweet, but her eyes gleamed with something cold. She handed me a neatly wrapped box. Inside was a stack of papers. For a moment, I didn't understand. Then, the words at the top hit me like a punch to the gut: "Petition for divorce." The room erupted into laughter before I could process what was happening. Her father chuckled, slapping his knee. We never thought she'd actually marry someone so beneath her. I stared at Jenna, stunned. What is this?" Her smile widened, and she shrugged, as if she were giving me a thoughtful gift. "Surprise. I'm leaving you for someone who isn't a disappointment." The words stung worse than I imagined they could. She kept going casually, like she was announcing a change in dinner plans. "You were a phase, Alex. A boring, safe choice. But I found someone who actually excites me. And well, this seemed like the perfect time to move on." They had champagne ready. Champagne? As if breaking my heart in front of an audience was cause for celebration. I could feel their eyes on me, waiting for me to break, to explode, to crumble, but I didn't. I smiled a small, tight smile, and said, "Where do I sign?" The room went quiet, their laughter fading into awkward silence. Jenna's confidence faltered for a split second, her brow furrowing. I calmly signed the papers, stood, and handed them back. "Thanks for the heads up. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have better things to do." I walked out of the house that night and never looked back. The first few weeks were hell. The betrayal cut deep, and the silence in the house was deafening. But I threw myself into my work, my hobbies, anything to keep my mind occupied. And slowly, I started to rebuild. 6 months later, I had a new job, a new house, and a new sense of peace. For the first time in years, I felt free. Until last night. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Jenna's name flashed on the screen, followed by a string of frantic messages. "Please answer. I'm outside. I need to talk to you, I'm sorry. I made a mistake." I ignored her. But when I peeked out the window, there she was, sitting in her car, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I watched as she paced the sidewalk, her silhouette illuminated by the street lamp. She looked nothing like the composed, calculating woman who had blindsided me 6 months ago. Eventually, she sank back into her car, shoulders shaking. I knew she was crying. But I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. Jenna's fall from grace was inevitable. The man she'd left me for. He drained her bank account and ghosted her a month later. Her family. They'd turned on her the moment she became a liability. But none of that was my problem anymore. As I stood at the window watching her car drive away, I felt a strange sense of closure. She had her surprise. Now I had mine. Some people don't realize what they've lost until it's gone. And some of us learn to stop waiting for an apology. That will never come. Life moves on. So did I.